Hello, Vault Hunters, and welcome back to another episode of the Chadderbox. Today we have our first episode of Creatures and Critters. We will start our ethological journey by discussing the Ratch. The Ratch is a native species to the planet of Athenas, but were brought to Promethea by the Atlas Corporation and let loose to thrive in the city's underbelly. The Ratch at first sight is a seemingly disgusting and pestilent creature who lives in dark, damp locations and has common traits of insectoid, reptilian, and mammalian characteristics. The common Ratch lives its life in several stages and is a burrower that sticks closely to its pack, and will defend its territory ruthlessly and with complete abandon to its own personal safety. Even the youngest of Ratches are born with an instinctive fighting ability and aggressive behavior. In this circumstance, nature over nurture is flipped on its head, as nurture is the only way to breed a non-aggressive Ratch. Several scientific studies have been conducted on transferring consciousness from a human to a Ratch, and have successfully created non-aggressive Ratches, but that simply circumvents the nature of the Ratch altogether. Ratches have hard plates down their spines along their top or backside that protect them from predators and the stray bullet, but have a soft and vulnerable head and underside like most creatures. The Ratch's primary source of defense and attack is its large front teeth and sharp claws, much like the common beaver or squirrel from Soul 3. Ratches also have the ability to regrow at high speeds large spines, which protrude from a slot near their large ears. These spines are used as projectiles by a small sinus-channeling membrane inside their mouths that redirect the toxic methcyanic gas they exhale through their spinal glands in short explosions, allowing for short to medium distance range damage. Spitter Ratches, along with the development of wings, lose their ability to shoot spines. Their hard spines instead become wing structures. They still have a projectile, but this time it is a blend of its own methcyanic acid. Not only does this acid burn through armor, but its stink will last you through several spin cycles on a Malawan superwasher. Ratches have hard, strong tails that some may develop for use to attack, but the most common purpose for the tail is stability, burrowing, and becomes a vital sexual organ upon maturity. The life cycle of the Ratch is one of constant decay. From the moment a Ratch is born, its body starts to break down and deteriorate, forming hard deposits and scales, which grow into armored plating, and in the fighter class of the species, even large spines and tusks that protrude from their armored plating to inflict more damage on their foes. The Ratch's respiratory system is primarily made up of small feather-like tendrils internal to its head and neck, inside two small plated flaps on top of its head that absorb excess nitrogen and hydrogen in the air, and convert them into a usable form of hydrocyanic acid in its bloodstream, and then is exhaled as a blend of methane and cyanide. This gas is the very same gas that Atlas has harvested for many years in their critically acclaimed spray-on hair removal product, Ne'er-Do-Well. Many speculate that Atlas coming to Promethea was not in fact due to the possible presence of an iridium vault, but that their true intent was focused on their cosmetics department and their research of the Ratch, and to turn all of Promethea into a breeding ground for their new Ratch hybrids, and create a planet with an atmosphere such that no human would have a single hair on their body. This incredible goal was abandoned after new Atlas CEO Reese Strongfork realized he would have even more difficulty breeding dead squirrels upon his upper lip. Ratches come in many forms throughout their evolution. The Ratch starts out as an egg, which is nothing more than an embryonic sac of slowly congealing methane, cyanide, and nutrients. Then we have the Ratchling, the first complete stage of life for the Ratch. Small, weak, and frail, but with a deadly attitude. The adult Ratch, medium-sized, deadly at close range, even deadlier in packs. The fighter class, or badass Rack, more aggressive with charging attacks and covered in sharp spines. The worker-gatherer class, or spitter Ratches, with fully developed wings for flight. And the final evolution of the sexually matured female Ratch, the Ratch broodmother, with strong defenses and a to-the-death willingness to protect its young. The Ratch is also a cannibalistic scavenger that will attempt to heal itself by feasting upon recently deceased Ratches nearby. Consuming the flesh of its own kind also gives the Ratch a form of endurance and stamina boost, which allows it to fight even longer. Ratches have very large ears. This is due to the fact that Ratches do not have eyes at all. Ratches develop such a keen sense of hearing that they can detect a heartbeat from up to a mile away. Unfortunately, standing still just makes you an easier target. The monks of Athenas have practiced the art of Ratch brewing for many centuries. The galactically famous Storm Brew and Brewhouse on Athenas formulate a special blend of rich hops, dead Ratch, and barley that is then consumed by common cave-dwelling Ratch breeds. Inside the body of the Ratch, the hops and barley is blended together with the natural decay and fermentation inside the body of the Ratch that formulates into a very powerful 15% alcohol IPA that is renowned throughout the system. Just be careful when you first crack open a bottle. Century-old Ratch farts pack a hell of a punch. The waiting list for Stone Brewing's Ratch Hopper goes back many years, and often one passes their spot in line to the next of kin upon death, which may repeat for upwards of 200 years. It is said that the largest stockpile of Storm Brewing Ratch Hopper consists of 2,534 gallons of the fart-stinking swill and is owned by none other than Digby Vermouth, former manager and drummer for the plutonium rock band Disaster Area, commonly known as the loudest rock band in the galaxy. And this concludes today's episode of Creatures and Critters. If you liked this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for future content. And as always, today's episode was made possible by viewers like you. Thank you, and goodbye.